going to start off with a seahorse, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to also want to put some more life in here, maybe some coral or whatever. And remember, the front of the treasure box is quite peachy and corally. And the inside went to blues and purples. So I want to go ahead and bring a little bit of that peach coral into the inside of the box today. That's the plan. So when you paint on top of resin, you do it just like you're painting on anything else. The only thing is you can use gesso if you're careful, because gesso is kind of like it's the finest sand in there. So just be careful, but it doesn't really matter that it's not going to be like super glued on right now, because we're going to pour resin over it. So once it dries, it's not going to be scooting around on you. It's pretty slick painting on resin in the very beginning. It's interesting, but it's fun. You got to try it. Even if you just take a pour, you know, and put resin on that and then start painting on top of it, you're going to love it. I do get messy with the unicorn spit. So I like this sand color. It's actually called fawn. But it's really good for flesh tones and sand. And you know, you don't just, if you're new, you don't just pour it out as beige and paint it as sand. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's your art. But you can also add greens or blues or reds to it, and like the blue, the red, and the yellow to this. And I do touch a little bit of black in with it too, but for skin tones and stuff, because in our skin tones, we have all sorts of colors in our skin tones. So, and the sand is really pretty much the same thing. It's got lots of colors in sand. It's not just the beige. So if you're working towards something and it looks a little still for you, a little too cartoony, trying to start mixing in some other colors with what you've got, and you'd be surprised how much difference that makes. So I hope that helps. Hey, Randall. So this paint is a little thick. So I'm going to go ahead, and since it's coral and I'm pretty much sure that I'm not going to be wanting to move it around, I'm hoping, I'm going to go ahead and mix it in with a little gesso, and it'll help it move around a little bit. So just a little bit of gesso, a little bit of vermilion, and some just apple barrel craft paint in yellow. I like their yellow. It's funny that different brands of different stuff end up with little favorites here and there. And I'm taking that yellow and I'm mixing it into some of the darkest of my coral. And I'm not going to do a lot to start with. I want to go a little slow, because, you know, I don't want to mess up a lot. I do want to get a brown. So I like mustard. I love mustard, actually, the color. And so I want some brown and some mustard. Let's see. Maybe on the redder side. If you want to go to the redder side, the burnt sienna is good. Let's see, I had a different brown I kind of liked better. And then the brown more is the burnt umber. I like that one. And if you're new to painting, go ahead, just play around with all your, like, pick a color, pinks or browns or whatever it is, and start playing around with them, mixing them with different colors, and see what they can do, because it's really amazing when you start getting that mixture. It makes it look so real, and it's exciting when that happens. I do it, I struggle and struggle with a piece, and finally I'll end up finding a color or whatever brush that makes the right mark. And I'm like, yes! So I'm just gonna get started. So I'm just gonna tap some of my browns right here on this existing edge, and just pretend that it's part of that rock formation for a second, or at least in front of it. And you can paint as much or as little as you want on these, and that's what's so cool about it. And just a little bit darker of the brown and some orange. And I need a grain. Sorry guys. I appreciate you all being here, taking time out of your day. We're trying to build an art tribe here. You can follow my bestie there, Paintings by Randall. And he does lives, and he works with oils. So that's kind of cool. If you have never worked with oils, or maybe you do work with oils, but you can always learn something. I know I always can. And any other artists, say hey if you're in here and you're an artist, so people can follow you. If you want them to. You might not. I'm just trying to find a place where I can bring it back in to make it look like it blends. I need a little bit of black. Because right now it's floating, which is fine. Floating's fine, but I don't want it all floating. So just tap it along. Paint on resin the same way you paint on any other surface, really. But I would just say go slowly. I say that and I'm looking at my stuff going, this is not working. But it will. It'll be fine. So I just tapping along on the edge of a square brush, trying to get some coral going. And when you want it to blend out, say like that's as far as you want your coral to go, but it looks funny because it's just like a chunk floating there. Then just dampen your brush and just start tapping it, dragging it down into whatever color that is. And you can put that same color or one like it onto your brush. And do it from the other direction as well, going from the dark to the coral, which I'm going to do that. I'm just pushing it up into the coral. And this is something that I can mess with forever. I can spend hours just trying to figure out how to put that in there. It's going to be really neat when that top layer of resin gets in there, you guys. It's just so fun to paint like this. So I'm leaving that little hole, that dark hole under there, and I'm going to go ahead and create that as a little cavern type of a place. So, don't know how to do that yet. Let me look at it. Painting for me is just half creative, artsy, whatever, and half mad science. So, but that's where I've found some very, very cool things happen when you do that. When you allow yourself as an artist to just play and think to yourself, everything is practice. Now, I wouldn't say that if you were doing a commission. I'm just saying. In your normal everyday. Because sometimes it depends on if it's a big canvas or a nice piece of wood, or you paid a lot of money for something and you're going to paint on it. That comes with its own pressure, whether it's for someone else or not. To me it does. And so if you can have the mindset of, you know, I'm just playing in my paint, I'm just seeing what happens. To me, it always turns out better like that. I'm trying to find my special brush. I cannot. Maybe this one will work. This is shot. Some of the best brushes are the ones that you've just abused. I'm going to get it down. Push up from the bottom. Seriously, where did my stack of paper towels go? I was all organized and everything for you guys today. I really, really was. Oh, I found them. All right, so dampen the brush and wipe it off. Be careful because a lot of times there'll be water up here and it'll drip down that. And then just start pushing, which way? I'm upside down. So pushing from, and that's going to take the little tiny, tiny bits of color back off your resin right there. So you'll be able to blend that into the rock or whatever's underneath that you're trying to paint over. Much easier and smoother blend. Smooth. I'm going to turn it back around for me, guys. Sorry. So how is everybody? Oh, thanks. Hey, Tina. Okay, I want to add some purple because the coral is not enough, right? But there's a slope and I want to follow that slope, and I think purple would be a good color. That's, I think, the only thing that I find to be a little bit puzzling is the blending of what you're putting on to the back. And you don't have to do that at all. Like, I wouldn't have to put coral or anything. I could just start throwing some fish in and not worry about blending it in to the back. But I like playing in my paint. So we're blending. And I'm just putting that straight purple right on top of the orange. It's really not a deep purple, so it's kind of nice. I just want to carry it across a little bit farther. Maybe a little yellow in it. Just play. Okay, so I'm going to put some purple and yellow. That I liked what happened, so what did happen? So just right down there is a little bit more yellow. I like that. Isn't it pretty? Isn't it fun? I just love playing and paint. And when I'm painting on this, I like to, if you followed me, I do a lot of tapping. No, not a lot of brush strokes. That puppy back there was a lot of brush strokes. But when I'm doing corals, seagrasses, maybe not the grass, but a lot of the sea stuff, a different brush and different colors, and just tap, and I promise you the thing that it wants to become will show up. It happens. Just grab color, grab different brushes, and start tapping. And don't worry about what it's going to become. Just start tapping and then watch it happen. It's just really, it is very cool. And besides, if you're doing the undersea life, there's just so many colors, so many shapes. You can't go wrong. So that would be a good thing to start on, probably. I'm getting this coral obnoxiously big. But that's okay. I get lost in tapping. Sorry, y'all. So now it's sitting on top of the resin, so it looks like it's sitting on top of the resin, but pretty soon when the resin is poured on top of this, it won't look like that so much. It'll just be another layer. So I'm going to keep going because I'm liking it. There's something in my box. Don't know what it is. Okay, never mind. I think I want some blue with some gel. So you can get different types of weights of gel. And I think this is the heavy, and it actually has an extra heavy as well. Like you can just mix it into your pigments, whether it's powder or liquid, doesn't matter, and mix it in and then just spatula up on top of things and it'll stand up, that gel, and it's such a cool look on paintings to have that much texture. Maybe not everywhere. That's my problem with texture. I'm like, and I'll texture that, and pretty soon the whole thing is textured. But anyway, so that is a cool idea. It's also a cool idea when you want to add a little transparency. So, with alcohol inks, that's easy to do. Not so much with the unicorn spit or the acrylics. So this, since it dries clear, if you mix your color in really, really well, it will give that transparency that you're looking for, at least some ability to see through. And that will be very nice around that, whatever that is, coral. Aw, Shannon, you're so sweet. Hey, Grat. Welcome. Sorry, guys. Oh, Randall's driving. Keep your eyes on the road, bud. I have not been paying attention. I appreciate, Shannon, you staying around, but I know you're busy, so if you have to skedaddle, I understand. And why do I sound like Grandma? Skedaddle. Okay. Clear drying. Just checking. Just checking. Never hurts. Liquid. And to mix the clear gloss, just a little tiny spatula, find a place. And I'm going to put blue in it because I want the coral, I want some watery looking stuff coming over the coral so it's not just a total drop off, okay? So that's my thought. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, we'll see. And I've got so many different blues in here, I cannot even tell you what color I used. this has an iridescent to it. It's Magic Fly. I do like these, and this is really pretty too. And a tip for newbies is to not put the iridescent paints in there until like the very end when you're highlighting things. Otherwise, it can be really clashy or annoying. But again, you do you. You may want the whole thing iridescent. I've seen that and it's really cool. But I don't right now, so, but I do want some of that water to have a little iridescent in it. So I'm just going to put some green over here and the blue over here. I don't want to cover all of it, so I want to be careful of that. Where's my little, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a little bit of green. In my gel. Isn't that pretty? And remember that it's going to dry clear, so that color will be back to its normal color. I'm going to take a little bit of blue and put it in here too. And maybe a touch of purple just to see what happens. So that's interesting. You can't see it. Shove a plate in your face there. Sorry. All right, so here we are. We have a little blue, some teal, and some purple. And I want to take a tiny fan brush . I'm not sure I want to get it wet. I'm going to go straight into this mixture. And when I dipped it, I just put a different kind of color around. You know, not all one color. That's what I'm trying to say, just a variation of color. And I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm scared. But I really kind of want to feel like maybe I should work on this swoosh a little bit because it kind of does fade out. Or I could do water. I'm not sure which. I think I'm going to go with the swoosh. And it can become water. How's that? How's that? You have a certain amount of time. I'm saying this now because I'm looking at this going, this could have been a bad decision. But you have a certain amount of time to get this paint off of the resin without having to really kind of wash at it, you know, scrub it or anything. So it's not like it's permanent as soon as you lay it down. And just darken that edge a little, just to see. Okay, this is going to be hard to see because it's all glossy and stuff. Let me fix it, but I don't know, can you see a swoosh? I'm just trying to keep it in line with this. Gloves are all hot. Yeah, I think it helped a little bit. Wow, that's bright with that purple. Whoops. I'll add a little more purple. Painting is just an experiment, you guys. It's an experience. Oh, here, this is one of those makeup brushes from Five Below, but they're great to paint with, so I'm going to dampen it and take this back off because I don't want it there. So I'm just, now it is in the swoosh, so that's a shame. I'm just going to blend it in and let it just become part of the previous landscape, adding some browns. Still want a green. Hold on. I like the Mars Black and yellow combination for the greens. That's pretty cool. So I have not been watching you guys skedaddle, trying to spell that. Funny, Grat. Thank you. Thanks, Grat. It's a fun process. Painting on resin is slick and fun, and you know, you can move it around, you clean it up, as long as you find it early. And a lot of times, like, leaving it kind of smoky looking like that actually works when you add that second layer of resin on top. It's just an interesting look. Now, I would totally recommend you guys try this. Seriously. All right, let me find some green. With my yellows. That's good. That's a mossy green. You know I like mossy. Oh, cool. Now see, with this brush, I'm getting a whole new look. It's like that moss that grows over the rocks there. Very cool. And I'll just blend it into this existing green that's over here. But as I do, it's very bright, and the green that's below it is darker, of course, plus it's under it a layer. So I want to darken my green down a little bit. And again, I like purples to do shadows with. It doesn't have to be black or brown or anything like that. Purple works pretty cool. Just add a bunch of different colors right there. And just trying to learn, see the back of my seascape and figure out where things would look good. And you know, you don't know, you've never done it before. So it's interesting. It's an interesting process. I don't want to go crazy with it, but I do want to bring some purples back in here. And don't be afraid to mush those colors in together. Let them fight it out. Figure out who's going to be first in front. And I'm just going to go right up against the side of this treasure box here. Ever so gently, I hope. So I've tried to fade down into the darker colors down here. So now my whole landscape is going with the swoosh. I'm in the flow. So that's kind of okay, as long as in my head, I need something that stops that over here. I don't want everything to be going the same way. I guess I had already thought about that and I put a rock down there at the bottom. So that's a good place for a seahorse. Let me put a little bit of grass, weed looking, and then we'll put a seahorse there. I'm excited about that. Back to my little fan brush. And I'm just going to mix in my greens, blues, black, yellow, just a variety to find the green I want. It's probably going to be, maybe it should be a little darker since this is the one behind him. So when you're basically starting to do the learning to paint, working from the background to the foreground really helps. And I somehow can't seem to keep doing that. I do the foreground and I'm like, oh no, I didn't do the back. So, I mean, you can go back and forth. It just is easier to me to block in the main colors and then work from the back to the front. But sometimes I just cannot. So, I'm trying to figure out where this little seahorse is gonna go. This rock is there, but it's very plain, so I want to add something there. I'm going to attach this grass in front and behind this rock by just twisting it. As I drug it up, I just went back and forth and twisted it. It looks funny just sitting on the rock, but there's that. So I'm not using a gel here because I don't really want this weed transparent. So I just want it, you know, opaque. Okay, so looks like Jack and the Beanstalk. I'll put some more grass around. And some grass right in front. It's a grassy little area. Kind of hard working in the edge of this treasure box. I'll tell you, it comes with its own little challenges. I'm going to take this one back out just by a damp brush. I'm pushing it down where you don't want it. Let's see. I'll blend this in a little bit more. I don't like the stem look. Just giving a little bit of a background for my seahorse to abode, make his little home. Adding a little bit purple mossy stuff, whatever this is. And maybe some gold, some mustard. Just some highlights, because it was pretty plain. I don't know if anything on this treasure box is actually plain. Still just tapping along. And I want to blend that in a little bit more. I'm not satisfied with my rock, which now looks like a potato. Don't worry if you're new and you start doing rocks and they look like potatoes. You're in good company. That's me, my mom. You can make a potato, tell you what. And just some more colors of greens and blues on it. It was too beige. All right, so I've given our little guy a potato to sit on or to float above. And the way I do the seahorses is pretty much just like that. It's easy. I say that now. I should not say that right now. Seriously. And what I want to do is I'm just going to use a very light color of whatever I want in him. And that way if I mess it up, I can wipe it off and I don't have to worry about, you know, ruining anything. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and use the white. And I think I'm going to use one of my detail brushes. This is from Amazon. They come in sets. They're very pretty and fun to look at. And they are actual nail design brushes. And they work so good for little treasure boxes and tiny little things. So I'm going to use that. And I'm going to add some of that teal in with my white. I'm not sure where I want him. Maybe he's in the swoosh. Nah, let's just put him right here. So I'm doing the head first, around his little crown. And then that's all I do. I do that one little loop. And then I do his little nose. Just tapping it along. So pretty much it looks like a very short tennis racket. That's his nose. Not worrying so much about color or anything, just wanting his outline to be there. I hear birds right outside. So cool. And now I'm giving him his little backbone, his spine. So you got a tennis racket and then you have a spine. And then you're going to make that spine turn into a tail. Just follow it around. Okay, so he's got a spine in his tail. And now the fun part is his belly. Let's make it purple. With some jelly looking teal. And don't put his belly like right up under his chin. Just kind of let it drop down and then slowly go out. It's the way I do it anyway. You do you. And that purple is not showing up well. So I'm going to go to blue for right now. And then as you do the belly, you just bring it down into the tail. It's a little ghost right now. Now, I know they have fins and stuff. I'm going to leave this guy alone, let him dry for a little bit. But before he does that, I do want to drag a little weed or something through his tail, because you know how they wrap their tails around stuff? So let me do that. Just trying to find some sort of green that's not... I just fade off to nothing. Here, this will work. All right, so I'm going to come up from this one existing leaf. So I made a line from the bottom of the rock of that little stem up to his tail. And I'm going to come through the tail and across his body and up, hopefully. And I realize it looks kind of dorky because it's like only one of those and he just happens to be hanging on it. But I will make more of those long, skinny sea grasses. You see it? And of course he has his little whatever that I haven't painted yet or anything, but... And then their eyes are like very far forward on their face. I know that. But the seahorses are just so fun to paint. Even like if you just take a big canvas or, you know, medium-sized canvas and just do one big seahorse. And then go like fantasy with it, you know, like weird colors or put jewelry on it or do something fun. Because they're just great little guys to paint. And you can embellish them and you can make them see-through, or you can get them to where they're really like bony, crusty looking ones. And if you Google it and just look up seahorse images, I mean, I could be there all day looking at those. They're beautiful and their colors are amazing. So I won't leave them ghosty. I will put some colors on them. I do want to give him something on his head right now. I don't even know what they're called, but anyway, there's something up there. And I'm going to go ahead back into the clear gel for that, for the top of his head and those little spiky little things. Because I just want the idea. I don't want him to look like he's got too much of a mohawk. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but anyway, I gave him a little bit. And I'll embellish him more once he dries a little bit longer. So cool. All right, I'll put a few more grasses in. And Thursday, you guys, if you come back, we will be painting on that mermaid painting. And it's going to be something. I'm just going to lay it out flat, I think. Trying to get to it the other day was... I don't know how people stand and paint. I tried doing that. I could not hold my hand straight and still long enough. So I have to come up with a different way. I finally dropped it down onto that low table with a different easel, and that worked for a little bit. So I'm just highlighting some of this existing grass that's coming up behind him. Just giving it a little bit more dimension in certain areas. I'll let another one come up around this way. I like doing grass. You just drag it around. Doesn't matter. It's supposed to be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. I was filling that one little piece I didn't like. And it's all just practice and playing in your paint. If you're new to painting, be good to yourself. Give yourself patience. Everything takes time to learn. And the main thing is just enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, then it's not worth it. And you're not going to enjoy it if everything has to be perfect in your head. So give yourself some grace that you would for anybody else. I went back over that with that rock color because I didn't like the way the big plant was attached to the rock. So I just covered over that, and I will do something else different. But that's an option too. You could take it out, or you could just cover it up and keep adding on top of it if you make a mistake or whatever. Happy accident. I just want some other colors down here, some brighter colors, just for fun, just dots. That's another way to cover things up, is just add another floral, add some more interest. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what it is, and when you're doing seascapes, that's okay, or undersea paintings, not to know what it is. You don't have to know. It's just plant life. I'm just bringing a few more brush strokes up behind him so he doesn't look like he's just so stuck on. I'm blending some of that same color into the existing rock that was down below. Okay. I say okay like it's done. Let me see him. He's gonna have to have a few more little guys around him or something because he's so lonely. You know, this really does, this shiny round part, it looks like it could be made into one of those vessels that coins are coming out of or something. It is Atlantis, after all. but I won't do that right now. I'll just keep going with some more yellows and whites. Just trying to bring a little bit more color and excitement down here to this corner of the box. I'd like to see how it's working with the top of the box, if it's going to be like clashing like crazy. Don't know. Find out. All right, so let's see. So this is how it looks. I can see that I have two, just balance-wise, I have two purple things, the little amethyst-looking crystals, and then a plant. And it's all on the same side. It's all the same color, but they're two different things. So I don't like that. I want to take, it's pretty though. And it'll be really dark once this gel dries, so it'll go back to its original, mostly. So I think just balance-wise, I'm going to take this little grouping of purple, leave it as it is, but add some blues onto it. Maybe little dots. Just so that it doesn't look exactly like whatever's up there. You know what I want? I want this. This is so pretty. Oh, I have some. Oh, no I don't. It's something else. This is the Ocean Green. I think it's just the Walmart brand. I'm not sure, but it's real pretty. Better. I'll have it come drop over this ledge a little bit. So just blended in some ocean green to it. Make a little shell, clammy looking thing over here maybe. Yeah, maybe not. That didn't work. Sorry guys. I've not been reading. Oh, thank you. I have ignored you all. I'm so sorry. I am aware in my head that you are there. It's just... no excuse. No excuses. I'm adding more colors, by the way, over here. Just trying to figure out how it ends over here. I can't find a good place to stop. I guess it ends when I get to the edge of the box. Wow, that was a long way around. This is actually an ink for airbrushing. So it's really saturated, really saturated. Don't need a lot of that. I'm gonna put that in some purple that's in this gel. See what happens. Ooh, it turned whitish. I wonder what it's really gonna look like later. It was funny, it's like I kept trying to keep in mind the balance-wise of everything, and finally I was like, just forget it. That was just same with that. It was like there's too much, it's too cluttered, there's no negative space. So all those negative thoughts are hitting me, and then I realized, I don't care. I don't. What I like is that I can look at that painting and I can go around it and I can see some clownfish and I can see this and that, and just, I don't care that it looks like a thrift store. It's got everything. So it may not be right, but I'm happy. I just want a little bit more dark underneath this ledge, and then I think I'm going to call it quits. I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and your love and your support means the world to me. Gratimus, paintings by Randall, any other artists in here, y'all, they're fabulous people. Follow them along on your journey. Build your art tribe. Ooh, look what just happened. This is cool. Look at this. That just happened. I don't know. I kind of liked it. Where is it? So anyway, Thursday, this will have resin over the top of it. Next time you see it, Lord willing, creek don't rise. So, but that's coming along, and yeah, we did good, guys. I'm very happy.